the title of this talk is Meaningful Change and Practical Answers. So I want to talk for a minute where change comes from. I feel really fortunate to live in a time where I can see a great paradigm shift in the ethical standards of not just people on an individual level, but also corporations. We see more and more corporations that are coming out and kind of draw a long banner that says we are an ethical corporation. And if you remember back in the day when Google on their website said, "Don't be evil," that's our policy, don't be evil, which it's not on their website anymore, and they don't really stick to that anymore, but that was the first time that I remember hearing anything about a company having an ethical standard. Now you have countless companies that, if it's an eyeglass company, for every eyeglass purchased, one that gets donated. And I've seen that for underwear companies and book companies, and there's a real push in, I think, the entrepreneur community to start or to find ways to one-up each other ethically. And I don't know that that's ever been a social norm. So like I said, I feel really fortunate to be around at a time when that's happening. But at the same time that this ethical shift is happening in companies, it's also happening on the individual level because people are starting to level up. They're starting to drop that old programming. The pendulum is swinging from first everyone was very religiously conservative, and then all of a sudden atheism became the new religion. And the pendulum is going to keep swinging back and forth until it settles in the middle. And in the meantime, everyone is starting to drop their old programming. And that's a really exciting time to be alive too. There's this idea in gaming that you're either a player character or a non-player character. And a non-player character is the person when you're playing the game, you go into a shop and there's a guy behind the counter and you interact with him, but as soon as you leave the shop, that character has no purpose other than to interact with you when you enter his shop. That's a non-player character, and I think that up until the last few years, maybe since 2012, a lot of people were non-player characters in their own lives. They just kind of floated down this river where things happened to them, not actively deciding what they were participating in. And just from the many, many conversations that I've had with people, I'm starting to realize that more and more people are wanting to be active participants in their lives. They want to be active characters in that game. So we could look at this as a stressful time, or we could look at it as a hopeful time. As an exciting time. That's how I view it. All of the changes that are happening politically with all of the talk of new wars, new kinds of governments, all of these things. To me, it's just really exciting because I want to see where that pendulum settles in the middle, what that looks like. But while all of this is happening, I feel that the people have the upper hand because we are creation. You could look at it as, I look at it as we are God experiencing itself through the individual. And that gives us an incredible amount of power. These psychopaths that think that they run everything, that think that they have all of this power, they have no creativity or imagination. They're not capable of producing the kind of innovation that it would take to lead everyone into a different future, to maybe hop onto a different timeline where we don't have to worry about homelessness, where we don't have to worry about hunger, we don't have to worry about the Flint water situation, we don't have to worry about all of the things that are daily stresses in individuals' lives because we participate in them. So change, though, doesn't start at the top. We're at the bottom. The majority of people are the bottom of the pyramid. We are the change. So we need to talk about, what are we willing to change? Vegans get uppity because they're like, well, if we just got rid of factory farming, then, the world would be such a better place. Or, somebody else might say, well, we need to throw all the bankers in jail because that'll make the world a better place. Or there's all of these different solutions, but what it really comes down to is the individual. What is the individual going to change? And I don't think that it has to be a scary, get out in your community, become an activist, become, one of the people that goes around shaming everybody else into better behavior. That's not what it's going to take. The things that I think we need to change most are really simple. We need to use our imagination more. We need to spend more time with ourselves, away from external stimuli, and get to know ourselves better, get to know our imaginations better, get to know our authentic selves so that we can have authentic ideas. That's a great way to start change. When you do that, when you spend more time with yourself, it's easier to listen to that voice inside you. The one that kind of got squashed when we were kids that told us, you can't do that, you can't, or you shouldn't say that, or that's not the right way to think. That voice inside of you is you. That's your authentic self. And we need to learn how to reconnect with that person inside all of us. And I think, so use your imagination more, daydream more, believe in that voice inside you, and don't fear change, and don't fear new ideas. That's a huge change that everybody could make today that would solve a lot of problems. And my favorite radio show host, his name is Max Egan, he says, change can happen in an instant. All it takes is changing our minds. So that's what I present today for discussion. What can we do? What ways can we change ourselves to help spur this evolution that's happening in definitely in America, but I think all across the globe at the same time?